everyone. Happy Saturday. Here a little later than usual, but thanks guys for being here. I already see there's some people in the chat. Hey Hex Huddle and Brian and my online ghost. Thank you guys for being here tonight. So I kind of like it was like I didn't advertise. I was like am I gonna be able to be here tonight? But thankfully it worked out. I don't have anything planned. But I just wanted to come in and say hi and see how things are going. Hey Gen Hacks, thanks for being here. So, and Brian is running out of beer. Be back in a few. All right. Wait, whoa. You criticize my stevia soda, but you drink beer? I mean, aren't they all? No, I'm just teasing you. I gotta bother. We know we gotta bother each other. So I thought it'd be fun to just talk about some stuff that's going on. Shemitah starts tomorrow. I think we got a few things we could talk about tonight. So yeah, I've been a little all over the place lately. My sister is getting married soon, so that has occupied a lot of my time and my family's time, and there hasn't been time to like prep stuff, for this. Because gosh, there's so much prep work involved with a wedding. But it's cool. An exciting time. Got family coming in from Europe soon. And so if I seem a little like I've disappeared from Twitter, a little all over the place, that's why. But I still plan to be streaming every Saturday. I just might have a different background, because I guess this is the guest room, and they'll need to be able to sleep, and I can't stream while they're sleeping. But so that's what's going on with me. Hope you guys are well. I know I've been thinking about this a lot lately, Shemitah, and I think Randy Hilarski has done, from what I've heard, a really good series on it. I haven't been able to check it out yet, but I've been seeing a lot of talk over Twitter, so I can't wait to check that out when I have the chance. So we will get to that. I just want to see what's happening in the chat. So Jen Hex said, I want to say thank you. After last week, I spent all week listening to Sasquatch Chronicles and now can't walk my dog without bringing a change of underwear. I am so glad you enjoyed last week's stream. I know, like, it opened my mind to a lot too, because like now when I'm outside, I think about this stuff. Like, okay, I live in a pretty populated area, so thankfully there's always people around, so I'm not too worried about being alone at night. But now I think about it, I'm like, you don't know where Sasquatch lurks, because apparently he lurks everywhere. And then on top of that, I listen to I've become like, oh my gosh, I am such a fan of this podcast called Blurry Creatures lately. And so I've been kind of binge listening to that as I'm driving different places and running different errands. And I started listening to their episode this week on Wendigo. Talk about more creepy stuff outside to be afraid of. Like, I kind of like had heard of Wendigo, but never thought too much about him. Obviously more familiar, like most people, with Sasquatch and Yeti and those type of things. But oh my gosh, talk about terrifying. I am going to finish listening to that episode before I guess I talk any more about it, before I say something wrong about it, because I'm still learning. But like, I already was horrified with Sasquatch, and now with Wendigo, I am even further freaked out. So thank you. And without bringing a change of underwear, maybe you got to bring a can of bear spray. Will bear spray keep away Sasquatch? That's something we have to ask Hex Noob. But yeah, maybe bring some bear spray with you. At least you have a dog, so you're not completely walking alone. Shoot, man. Hey, Crypto Journeyman. Nice seeing you here tonight. And Dr. Ray and Russ, thanks for being here tonight, guys. Nice seeing you all. No plan. I'm like, let's just chat. Let's just be all over the place. I like I kind of, that's the way my brain rolls. I like being freeform and just seeing which way the wind takes us. I did write down a few ideas of things that I wanted to bring up before I forget. But yeah, the Wendigo is one of them. I am just trying to catch up to Craig. He is high on NyQuil, not your fault. Okay, I see what's happening. Gotcha. NyQuil, are you high in NyQuil because you took it, or did you end up, because I hear there's a trend now, did you end up eating that NyQuil chicken? Is that a thing? Is that, like, real? Are people really eating NyQuil chicken? I can't imagine NyQuil tastes good, so I don't understand the whole cooking it in chicken. But yeah, so I hope you didn't have any of that NyQuil chicken. A foot spray, maybe a can of alien repellent too. I remember when my sister and I were like in high school, middle school, that age. We took a can of hairspray and she made her own label and made it a can of alien repellent. So it was just like, I mean, we knew it wasn't really alien repellent, but we put it on display as a joke, So, but maybe there's a market for Bigfoot repellent. Nate Stakes, thanks for being here. Nice seeing you. I feel like this is the first time I've seen you in the chat. And Nate Stakes, I believe your channel is relatively new, or I just recently subscribed to it. So if it is new, if I am correct, because sometimes I start confusing channels, welcome to the Hex live stream world. I like it. I like being here in this live stream world. It's a lot of fun, and I love meeting you all and interacting with you guys. Bigfoot jokes. Yeah. Foot spray. Yeah. It's a little late for me. I realized now I get it. Like, what is that foot spray you see advertised on TV? Lotrimin, right? Yeah, maybe you should bring some of that with you. Sorry, I'm a little slow tonight. I don't have my 4 shots of espresso like I usually do other nights when my brain is clear. Because I could fall asleep on it, but it clears my brain. So it kind of sucks when you're tired and you do want to stay awake and you drink that espresso. It does nothing, but at least my brain is a little clearer than usual. Bob spray. I like alien spray. Bob spray. Hey, Hexander. I really like all the colors going on in your profile picture. Crypto Chromer. Yeah, let's rock. Let's hold on, let me pick up my pen. I know. So I'm like, yeah, let's rock. Yeah, get buckled up for a possibly nonsensical all over the place stream. One of those nights. So Alan Fizame, don't listen to Gen Hex. He's full of NyQuil. And now, like I said, I'm wondering, is it NyQuil or NyQuil chicken? You have a couple of bottles of NyQuil on stream and they just can't forget. Oh, okay. So this is a reference to something that happened? I'm going to have to go back and find that stream. So yeah, did anybody see that SpaceX launch tonight? Everybody on the East Coast, or at least in the Northeast, was talking about some comet, something they saw in the sky. And then when you dig more into it, I didn't see it. I was inside. I guess it turns out it wasn't a comet. It was the SpaceX launch, which is interesting because it launched from the Space Coast in Florida. And by the way, and I'm not up for a space debate tonight. So let's just pretend space is real for anybody that doesn't believe space is real. So SpaceX, interestingly, so it, just like other launches, it launched off the Space Coast in Florida, but yet we saw it here in the Northeast. I don't ever recall being able to see the Florida launches up here, but for whatever reason, people saw the SpaceX launch tonight. All over the place. It was kind of freaky though, because everybody was talking about September 24th. Something big is going to happen on September 24th. And then all of a sudden everybody's posting these pictures of this thing in the sky that no one knew what it is. I'm like, oh, so is September 24th a thing? But then I saw it was SpaceX. And I'm like, am I disappointed? Would it have been fun for there to have been a huge UFO thing? Or would it have just been Project Bluebeam stuff at this point? Okay. So that was 10 minutes ago, the NyQuil incident. Gotcha. Oh, only people who drink NyQuil saw it. Oh, so that's why I didn't see it. Okay, so you didn't see anything. Yeah, people around me, I know people people in New York saw it. I saw people in DC saw it. I think Connecticut also. So I thought that was interesting. But that was pretty unusual. But thank you, Gen Hacks. I'm sending you the $5 Alan Fizame sent me last stream because I'm afraid I'll use it to buy more NyQuil. It's a cry for help, basically. Thanks. Thank you so much. Thank you for passing on that $5. I appreciate it. Are you sure you don't want me to? Wait, whoa. Is this a code? Are you saying? Is this your way of saying, Ashley? I'm going to send you $5 in NyQuil. They won't let me buy any more in the store, so I need you to buy it for me. Is this what you're insinuating here? But thank you so much, Gen Hex. I appreciate that. Yeah, so everybody saw that launch happening. Would have been, like I said, would have been cooler if it was this, but when the government starts talking about UFOs and calling it UAPs and everything, I am like, okay, anytime the government puts its hands in anything, I am disinterested and I am suspicious. So now I'm like, yeah, I'm a little hesitant of anything UFO phenomenon related, unless it's just coming from us and not the government. I don't know where I'm going with this. I just went in a big circle. I start talking and I forget as I'm speaking. Impossible to see from New York because of the curvature of the Earth. Oh wait, there is no curve. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I won't debate you. I won't say anything. But okay. Regardless of curvature, it is in the sky, right? So it would overcome the curvature of the Earth. Your local pharmacy may have cut you off, is all I'm saying. I see. So it wasn't a cry for help. It was an Ashley, go out and make a NyQuil run for me. Now I see. Like the XRP chart. Okay. XRP, I know there was like a lot of talk about XRP happening, Sorry, my camera keeps focusing in and out tonight, and I don't know what to do. So I hope it doesn't make anybody motion sick. So the XRP chart, like I remember early on, I bought like a tiny bit of XRP. And then people are like, you know what, hang on to it. It's going to be great because the banks are going to adopt it. And I am like, besides the fact that I don't trust things now outside of Richard Hart products, I understand what people were saying. They were like, you know what? Yes, it might be a WEF crypto, but just, you know what? You can't beat them, join them. Just ride it on up to the top because the banks are going to adopt it and, and things are going to go good. But I'm like, I cannot get on board with that. Besides hating the WEF, I'm like, I cannot imagine anything happening with XRP, because the banks are going to adopt it. When has anything ever worked out for the regular folks with the banks? So I'm so glad I didn't buy into that. Because I did get some people on TikTok that are like, yeah, go for the XRP. And I'm like, absolutely not. So happy to be in the Richard Hart, should I say cult or community? Whatever it may be. And speaking of this whole hex on, what is it, ETHW, it's been interesting. I tried my best to buy and I got lost in plus. It's interesting because certain exchanges or whatever they're called, like I get blocked because I'm from New York. Am I just always out of luck because I'm from New York? But yet I'm not leaving, Brian. I will not. Yeah. I still love my New York, but still, it's weird. It's like New York doesn't want you to make money and they block you at any chance, any chance they can get. But I'll talk more about that in a second. I want to catch up with the chat. You are rewatching X-Files at the moment. That makes me so happy. I've been pondering rewatching X-Files. I always reponder it. I got rid of a bookshelf in my room, so I had to pack away my books. And I gave my X-Files books its own separate special box. And, I'm like, one day I'll have a very beautiful X-Files book display. I love it that much. But instead, I opted to start rewatching Bates Motel. Let me tell you, I don't think I ever watched a show that like rips your heart apart as much as Bates Motel, but I do not like the movie Psycho, but Bates Motel being the prequel is one of my favorite TV shows ever. So, X-Files is one of my favorite and Bates Motel. So if anyone wants a good watch, definitely X-Files. And do not worry, I will not spoil it for you. But I will say this. If this is your first time watching through, you are going to be amazed at like the fact that how long ago this stuff was made and what ended up coming true. It's gonna be mind blowing. what ended up coming true in real life. So yes, X-Files and Bates Motel are my big recommendations right now. Oval Earth. What about you know, I was gonna crack a joke, but no, I'll be good. I'll be good. They're forever UFOs to me. Exactly. I am not gonna be calling it UAPs. Maybe if the government said nope, we're gonna, maybe I have to be a little oppositional. If the government starts saying no, we're not gonna say UAPs anymore, we're going back to UFOs, then maybe I'll start calling it UAPs because I gotta do the opposite. But I'm with you. They're always gonna be UFOs. Oh, thank you, Brian. Get him another bottle of NyQuil. He loves this stuff. Okay. Well, apparently I'm going on a NyQuil run tonight. I don't know where you live, Gen Hex, but I guess, what does Liam Neeson say in Taken? I will find you. I don't know, whatever it is. I will buy the NyQuil and then I will hunt you down. Thank you, Brian. Cut to the point. I'm sending you the money to buy me another bottle because it is now and Alan are on to me. See, I knew it. I knew it. See, I know you guys are always nice to me, but I'm like, this is something else happening tonight. This is some sort of drug running happening, and it involves NyQuil. But nobody said to buy chicken, so I'm guessing you were just going to chug the NyQuil and you're not going to make chicken. Anything with VC money is designed to dump on holders' heads. What is VC? Is that virtual currency? Is that like, when the government uses digital currency? Sorry, somebody's got to tell me what VC is. Sorry if I sound dumb. You feel a snake in the grass with XRP. Yeah, something doesn't sit right. I mean, a lot of other types of crypto, there are things that don't sit right, but there's something especially red flaggy about XRP. I still have the tiny bit that I have. So, I mean, if it did anything insane, then I guess cool, I still have it. But I think it ended up locked in Coinbase. I bought it through Coinbase at the time because of whatever was going on legally with it. But yeah, something's not right with it. And then, once I started digging in and seeing the connections to the WEF, then that starts, making even more sense. That is a good way to put it. The Hex cult community. And I say that in the most loving way possible. I enjoy being part of this cult. Extremely wrapped plebs. There you go. That is perfect. I'm going to go with that. Set my VP to, VPN to, you're right. I used to do that. And then I forgot. Because you know what? It's funny. I'm like, how did I do that? And then completely erased that. Last year I was doing that. And then I completely erased it from my mind somehow. And I forgot that was a thing. So thank you. Let's see. Gonna watch the X-Files and see what came true. Yes, please do it and let me know what you think of it. Oh, okay. Venture capitalist. Gotcha. Thank you. So it was announced a year ago that it would be the backbone of the GBDCs. Or is that CBDC? Central bank digital currencies. Oh my gosh. Talk about the central bank digital currencies. At some point, I wanted to discuss that with you guys. I want to do a show on it. So I'm kind of digging into it a little more. Glenn Beck has been doing a lot of coverage on that. But, a lot of people are like, no, you shouldn't be in crypto. Crypto is bad because that's the next step. Almost like that primes us mentally for the central bank digital currencies, So once you're on board with crypto, then you know what? It's easier for them mentally to transition you to the CBDCs. But I don't believe that. I believe it's almost like a parallel rebellion that goes on. You know what? They're going to do that regardless because they can force us to adopt it. So they don't need to mentally prime us to get us ready for that. But, what we're doing and being in it ahead of time, I think gives us, a parallel rebellion. The thing is with the Ethereum chain, the WEF does completely have its hands in Ethereum. People say they don't, but, forgetting the names of everything, but there's I actually have a video somewhere, but they have, it's not just one aspect of it. They have their hands in what is it, Infura and MetaMask in the Ethereum Foundation. So to me, that chain is completely compromised. So that is what gets me so excited about Pulse Chain, because now you start looking at that and you're like, okay, Richard Hart is legit developing something that is untouched by the WEF and will not be touched by the WEF. And then though, when you look at it and you're like, oh shoot, we're still using MetaMask. But then, he said he's developing his own wallet. And you're like, oh shoot, we are legit going to be completely out of the WEF's grasp. So here is the parallel rebellion. We are, yes, we are still in crypto, but we're using it differently than them. And that is our way of, and it's not in the if you can't beat them, join them type sense. It's like, no. We're going to do something similar digitally, but we are going to keep it out of your grasp, out of your hands, so that even if we're forced to participate in the CBDCs, we'll do it minimally, whatever. If they convert our bank accounts against our will, guess what? We'll have most of our assets in Pulse. So that's one of the things that so excite me. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, we have a parallel resistance going on, a parallel rebellion, because it's going to be completely out of their hands. But I do believe that we are going into that it's inevitable. And I have to find the link, but Glenn Beck really laid it out in an amazing way. And an easy to understand way, which I am always happy about, because I need sometimes things explained to me when it comes to numbers and money and stuff, like I'm a toddler. But it was interesting. What do they call it? Equity? I don't know. Almost like in a social justice way that, when you convert to a CBDC, he says that, it's not going to be a one-to-one conversion. They're going to scale it. So if you happen to be somebody who is comfortable in America, you're going to get less per dollar. Let's say they're only going to give you 75% of your dollar. But if you're poor, if you're under the poverty line, then we're going to give you $1.50 for every dollar that you convert. It's like their weird way of spreading the wealth, as Barack Obama used to say it. So, I mean, that's their way of completely restructuring it. It's very socialist, but yeah, so something I need to dig into more, and something I really want to discuss. And like I said, Glenn Beck is an excellent resource on that. Show me where the WEF touched me. I was gonna say in my pituitary gland. No, they're not touching my third eye. Let's decalcify those pineal. Oh, no, not pituitary gland, pineal gland. No, they didn't touch it. You're funny. Crack me up. You're going to try to geolocate me via my accent? Give me your best guess, Alan. We are building a parallel polis with blockchain. Choose to go with CBDCs or go with Pulse Chain and public blockchain. Yes. Yep. We are. And I am so happy that we are already in there. We are on the forefront of it. And that's something that gives me a lot of optimism with Pulse. Most of us got in early, and then it started really catching on. And there's so many more people who are like, I didn't get in for the sacrifice, but I still want in. And I keep seeing that sentiment more and more and more. So I'm like, wow, it's not just us that sacrificed who are excitedly waiting for it. There's a whole bunch of people who never had that opportunity who's waiting. And I'm like, this is big. This is huge. I'm excited. Oh, okay. So it doesn't. But I used it for something. Then I don't remember what I used it for. I used it for some sort of thing, and I don't remember what I used. But I did do something with crypto and a VPN. Now I'm wondering what I did. But it was like back when I was doing with coins that I ended up not into and that I ended up selling. Yeah. Can you tell how organized I am with all this? No, I'm kind of all over the place. I'm a crypto mess, and I am happy with that. We are the next 1%ers. The WEF is already lost, so don't invest in the fear mongering. Thing is, they may have already lost, but they are going to fight to the death. And we need to be prepared and ready for that. All the Ethereum forks are now setting up Pulse Chain for the ultimate takeover. I think so. I'm excited. Truly. Stay the course and believe none of this stuff, but they're going to force it on us. I do believe they're going to force it on us, and we're not going to have a choice. So that's why it's good to be prepared and to be in pulse. Being early is almost the most risky, but ultimately the most rewarding. Yeah, it's that whole, I don't know what you want to call it, law. It's that rule, high risk, high reward, which I am all about. You know what? You got to be willing to gamble. You got to be willing to lose and not be afraid in order to be successful. You know, everything in life is a trade-off. And it seems like the biggest trade-offs, the biggest gambles, yeah, bring you the biggest rewards. So we will see. When I hear Glenn Beck, I remember the Free Beck song that used to come on in the windows. Yes. Okay. Whoa, what was it? Oh, is Buffalo the name of it? But I remember how it goes. But you know what? I will not sing it. But I remember exactly what song you're talking about. Oh, are we? So we like on the edge of pulse chain or still a ways away, rim of pulse chain. I don't even know what to think anymore. I mean, I want to be optimistic and I want to say it's going to happen soon, but I don't know. And I've kind of just let go. I mean, I do get the creeping feeling of like once in a while because I'm human. What if it doesn't happen at all? But I know that's not the case. I know it will. I hope we're not waiting years for it. I don't feel like it's going to happen this year. I feel like it's going to be early next year, but that's my feeling. I don't know. I would like to be pleasantly surprised and I would love for it to happen in November, but at this point my feelings are early next year. Let's see. Oh, I thought Buffalo was the name of the Beck song. Okay. No. I am not from Buffalo and I am not from Long Island. So yeah, so that's not the Beck song, but I know what Beck song you're talking about. And I've never been to Buffalo, but I hear their wings are good. And I have been to Long Island, but thankfully I don't think I speak like them on Long Island. I think their accent is a lot thicker. But that is like two different worlds. Yeah, completely different. Do they even have this type of accent in Buffalo? Because Buffalo, man, is like over near Ohio. It almost feels like you get into the Midwest at that point. But I am from the northern suburbs of New York City. So that is where this accent is from. Suburban. I like being a suburbanite. So let me see what else I got on this agenda here. Okay, I mentioned Wendigo. I always thought it was Wendigo, but Wendigo. I hear the TV show Hannibal had a Wendigo in it, but I haven't seen Hannibal, but I need to watch it because I own it and I still haven't watched it yet. Oh, okay. Yes, that is it. Yep. There we go. Okay, so they don't sound, yeah, because I'm like, it's so far away. Because the amazing thing about New York is, for anyone that might not realize, New York is like huge. It takes, like, if I wanted to, from this New York City area, if I wanted to drive to like Niagara or Jamestown or anywhere out that way, even Buffalo, that's like a 7-hour drive or maybe more. Like it takes that long to cross all the way west, in New York, and at that point you're almost in Ohio. So I think that's like amazing that New York is that massive. And I think if you want to drive all the way north to the Canadian border, I think that's like a 6-hour drive. And the amazing thing, the thing that amazes me is I believe if you want to drive to Toronto from here, that's like a 10-hour drive. So it's like 10 hours between major cities. So from foreign major cities. So you have an American city and you have Toronto, and they're only 10 hours apart, and yet they're foreign cities. I know that's not amazing, but my brain is like, whoa. And I promise you I am sober, but for whatever reason, my brain is fascinated by that. Wendy O. Oh, what is Wendy O? Shoot. Was she the Plasmatics? Yeah. Wendigo. Yeah, Wendigo. I think it was the Plasmatics. Oh, so I did get that hours right. Thank you, Brian. So you were in Boston. The accent only comes out when you're drinking, or so you think. It might to you, you might speak neutral, but to all of us, even when you're sober, we might not think it's neutral. I think I speak neutrally. People in New York who live around here say that I speak neutrally, right? But to everybody else, I have an accent. But so 6 hours to Buffalo from Boston. Visit Mr. Goodbar. Mr. Goodbar is in Buffalo? I didn't know that. Now tell me, does Mr. Goodbar, I can't remember, I haven't had one in a long time. Does that have peanuts or almonds? I can't remember. So hold on, I'm reading my thing. Oh, another suggestion, by the way, and I keep bringing it up, but I'm going to bring it up again. 5 Days at Memorial. If you have not seen 5 Days at Memorial on Apple TV, that is a must watch. Talk about a show that will make you angry. It takes me, and it's based on true events, and it's the perfect example of how quickly things can go bad. If you're talking about preparedness and disaster scenarios. Yeah, so I would watch that. That is a show that will take you off. It will, make you want to burn everything down, but before anybody reports me for arson. That's just a figure of speech, YouTube. Oh, it's a bar. I thought the candy. Okay. Exactly, Brian. Say Brian is from here too originally. He escaped here. But yeah, thank you for backing me up. It's all yous guys. No, yous guys. Isn't that a Jersey thing? I've never heard anybody much just to say yous guys. But I know that's a stereotype of the way we speak here. So you're from Vegas. Everyone has accents to me. Oh, do people in Vegas have an accent? I'm trying to think. No, I think they speak pretty neutrally there. Okay, so yeah, so then everybody would have an accent to you, and you speak neutrally. Now, to me, Vegas reminds me of one of these people. I mean, one of these places like Florida, where people aren't really. There's very few natives, and I don't mean like indigenous, like Native Americans, but very few people. Like, let's say Florida. And I know people can argue with me and say there's tons of people born in Florida, but for the most part, a lot of people in Florida are people who have migrated to Florida. I personally have not met a lot of people who are actually born in Florida that live there. And I feel like it's the same with Vegas. Like, I don't come across a lot of people who are like born and raised in Vegas. I feel like everybody's moved in. So Nate, are you like born and raised there, or have you moved to Vegas? And one of my favorite nonprofits is in Vegas, Hookers for Jesus. Anytime I could shout them out, I love to do that. Alan, thank you. Okay, you're officially a fan. You talk in the rhythm my brain thinks. Well, thank you for saying that. That is a high compliment that I haven't made anybody's brains melt with my circling and nonsense talk. So thank you, Alan. That's really kind of you. I appreciate that. So, okay. Oh, by the way, I listen to, another podcast I'm really into right now is the Let's Be Friends podcast. She had on an expert, Kara Mosher. And it was a guy, I forget his name. He has either a podcast or an Instagram page called Megalithic Marvels, coming back to the idea that a lot of the history we're taught is not real history, that the history of the earth is beyond what we can imagine, but it's covered up for, reasons of control and things. So he was on a show, an episode of the Let's Be Friends podcast, and he was talking about how the Egypt that we're taught is nothing like what Egypt actually is. So my hair is annoying me, and I keep looking at it, but is nothing like what we're taught. Like the idea, like the what do they call it? The pharaohistic, the pharaoh dynasties that we're taught built everything in Egypt, and the pyramids and all this, that they weren't the actual people that did all that in Egypt. They kind of moved in and took over and claimed it as their own, and that there was actually an advanced civilization before them that lived there and did all that. And, and they kind of, what's the word to put it? Yeah, they kind of co-opted it. They took it over and claimed it as their own. And so it was a really fascinating episode. And the amazing thing is that they do a tour. So typically when you go to Egypt, you're going to get that whole spiel, is that a New York word, of the BS history of Egypt. But instead, he takes people to Egypt, and um and he does his tour with the real history. And okay, how do we confirm the real history? Okay, the real potential history. So you get in a completely different perspective. And I like, if I had the ability to go, I would go on this tour. It sounds so freaking amazing. But some of the things that they talked about, that they're going to see on this tour, that they talked about in this episode, like, just blew my mind. Now, I already was familiar with the idea that the Sphinx was not part of like the pharaohs and all of that it was from some ancient civilization before then that nobody really knows about. It was built by them, and that actually, like, the face on the Sphinx was put on later because, I don't know, through like um deterioration from the elements, the old face came off, and so that new face is something more modern, but it's like completely ancient. And there's speculation that there are archives, so kind of like there was, the Vatican archives or the library at Alexandria, that there's like archives under the Sphinx. Near one of the feet, a door was found, but Egyptian authorities were like, nope, nobody's allowed in. So, more of that whole hidden history stuff, because people are like, okay, what are in those archives that they don't want us to see? So they discussed things like that. Something that I thought was really interesting, I had never heard before, was there is signs of like water erosion on the Sphinx, which, you think about it, the desert over there is desert. Obviously not much rain happening there. So how did it end up with that? Was there an irrigation system, or is this so ancient that the weather was different there back in the day? So it's just completely mind blowing what is going on in Egypt, how all this stuff there, like, the history that they teach you doesn't actually line up with what you're looking at structurally. But yet they just go along with this BS history, and everybody just agrees with it. So they found stuff in the Amazon which look like highways, thousands of years old. Yeah, and you find this stuff all over the world where it looks like there have been plenty of advanced civilizations that were doing incredible things, but yet we're taught to think that that it's always just been primitive, and that we're the most advanced civilization on Earth that's ever come along. And no, when you look at some of these structures, these megalithic marvels, we don't even have the technology to do certain things like that. So how the heck would these, if we're the most advanced civilization that's ever been on the earth, how the heck would all these older civilizations do that? Absolutely not. Somebody had to have had advanced technology. Oh, thank you. Makes me feel better. Thank you, Brian. Oh, okay. So answering my question from before. So you were Arkansas born, Las Vegas raised, grew up with plenty of natives. They all leave after high school or work the industry for the most part. Oh, okay. So that's why, because they leave. Gotcha. So it's like, you know what I mean? Because it's like such like a touristy place too. It's hard to imagine that there are like people who were like born and raised, and that live there. No offense to Vegas. I'm just like, can't wrap my head around that. So Funding Jim and I had a great conversation about Egypt. He mentioned how messed up the history over time is, and how so much is manipulated and changed in our modern eye. Okay, I didn't know Funding Jim was into the same stuff. That's interesting. I have to talk to him about that. You'd go to any deeper investigation and analysis into the unknown is what I'd love to do. And so that's why I'm like, wow, it's so great that a lot of people will do these investigations on their own, but here's a way to, like, for those of us who aren't like archaeologists or researchers or don't have the ability to do that, an opportunity to go on a trip where they take you along and just show us what they figured out so far. And honestly, it's pretty reasonable, or at least I think. I would have thought it was more. I mean, not reasonable to me at the moment, but like, it's like, 4 something grand, 4,000. Yeah. And it's like a 12-day expedition, and they put you up in like really nice stuff, and there's like a 5-star Nile cruise that you stay on the cruise ship for days, and then they fly you over to Luxor. I'm like, this sounds like a really nice thing. So if any of you will want to take your hex money, you know, pulse money, if it comes in time, I think this would be a cool way to spend it. Some hexpedition stuff happening. The desert over there is desert. Is that a yogiism? What do you mean, like Yogi Bear? I haven't seen Yogi Bear in a long time. Once you get a taste for it, I think you'll open some doors into what we've been misled about and led to believe are taboos. Yeah, I always kind of thought like that, but now as I've found like some really great resources into looking into this, I love it. So I mean, this is what I listen to when I'm driving, the explorations into this type of stuff and the hidden history. Because when you really think about it, all the stuff that we're taught in school, there's so much that doesn't make sense, but like nobody questions it because, well, first of all, the way schools are designed, you're not really taught to question things. It's not really valued. You're taught to just go along with the narrative. So when you start questioning it, then you're a conspiracy theorist, then you're like out of your mind. But that's just a deterrent to keep you from questioning. So I am glad that there are people doing the work and putting the info out there for all of us who are interested, but also amazing to live in a time where we have access to this information at our fingertips. Like that never ceases to amaze me that, wow, we really do have so much more access. Oh, Alaska. I'm sorry. Why did I think Arkansas? Arkansas is AR. Yeah. Uh-oh, AR. Is the algorithm going to cancel me now? Hey, Andrew. Oh, and hey, Toxic. Hey, Hexhog. Sorry, always a tongue twister for me. I think we lost Craig. He must be in a NyQuil coma by now. Well, salute to our fallen Hex chat friend, Craig. I hope you have a good sleep and that you wake up refreshed. So some of the other things that they had spoken about are Yogi Berra. Is that a baseball player? I'm not very sportsy. I love to play a game of badminton, but I don't know what's going on with sports a lot of the time. I'm not super athletic either. I used to really enjoy Krav Maga, but I don't like getting punched in the face, so I haven't done it in a long time. But I know the point is that you don't get punched in the face, but once you advanced in the levels of Krav Maga, then you have to spar, and I hated sparring. But I do miss it sometimes. Sometimes, yeah. So some of these other megalithic marvels that they had spoken about were that we're taught that the Egyptians, the tools they used, copper tools are one of them. I can't remember if iron was the other type of tools, but those tools only have about a 4 or 5 hardness on the Mohs scale. And anyone who's not familiar with the Mohs scale, 1 is the softest measure. So that would be, I think gypsum would be a number 1. And then 10 is the hardest thing, like a diamond would be number 10. So Egyptians only had about a 4 or a 5 tools that were 4 or 5 on the hardness scale. But yet, if you look at the things in Egypt, the type of granite, I think there's like a rose granite, which is very rare, and they used in Egypt, and that has like maybe like a 7 or 8 on the hardness scale. So people look at it and they're like, this doesn't make sense. If their tools were only a 4 or 5 in hardness, they should not have been able to mine something of a 7 or 8. They should not have been able to work with it. So we see I don't know, not misalignment, but we see an inconsistency there. And then once you start looking at things that, are in Egypt, they're done with such laser precision. I mean, even today, we don't have the precision like that they have there. Because if you think about it, with the idea that they didn't have the technology that we have now, if you're the way they built, if you were even like a centimeter off, the whole thing would go wonky. But yet they were somehow able to get everything lined up perfectly, and they were able to do it without mortar. And they say that the 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 amount of time that the pyramids supposedly were built in, and how heavy the blocks are, that in order to have moved those 2-ton blocks and get it built in the time frame that historians say they were built in, you would have had to move those 2-ton blocks every 2 seconds. One would have to go into place in order to have built the pyramids in the time frame that they're claiming. So like that doesn't make sense. But you sit and you do the math and you see that it's like clearly misinformation, a lie. I don't know what you want to call it, but it doesn't line up. So there's a lot that doesn't line up. And then like where they mined the this type of granite is 500 miles away, and these stones that they were using or that they were turning it into were massive. So we're supposed to believe that these massive stones, some of them they say would take 2,000 people to be able to carry. They were that heavy. That they somehow dragged them 500 miles like across Egypt to where they are now. Back then they want us to believe that. And then on top of that, these structures, there's these granite boxes that were made with such laser precision, and just the top of the box was 2 tons, and they're done so perfectly and carved so perfectly. And then all of a sudden you see like really crudely scratched in hieroglyphics in there, and it's like, okay, they were able to do everything so perfectly, but yet they couldn't get the hieroglyphics all nice and pretty. They had to crudely scratch them in. That doesn't make sense either. That sounds like graffiti. It sounds like somebody found all this amazing old stuff, co-opted it, said, okay, no, it's ours. We're going to claim it as our own, and we're going to scratch our hieroglyphics into it to claim it. That's what it seems like. And also these massive boxes, these blocks that they say would take 2,000 people to be able to move, and they're not like the size of a building. These blocks are like the size of maybe a bedroom. The clearance in the hallways was only like 2 feet bigger than these boxes. So an army of 2,000 men would have to carry these boxes. And then with only 2 feet of clearance in the hallways, like this stuff doesn't make sense if they're feeding the tourists. On top of that, the obelisk that they used, and there's a lot of debate over what the obelisk did. Some people believe that they actually were like technology to collect cosmic rays. Fine, whatever they did. I believe it's in Luxor where they mined these obelisks. Wherever it was in Egypt, they mined these obelisks. Again, they didn't have the tools of the hardness to be able to mine it. But on top of that, they have obelisks that were like only halfway made. They didn't completely get carved out of the ground. For whatever reason, they abandoned making it. And so you can see where it started to get carved and it's still attached to the bottom. And the strange thing is, where it's still attached to the bottoms, there are signs of like heat, of excessive heat. So these weren't getting carved out of the ground. Somehow they were melting the granite. So they had some sort of technology to melt granite to be able to carve these things out of it. I'm like, wait, that is not the Egyptians. I'm done believing this BS that the Egyptians did all that. So I guess they talk about all this on this Megalithic Marvels Egyptian tour. And I am like, this sounds like an amazing tour. So any of you who are able to go, I would totally hop on this. So I wonder, agreed, diamonds being 10 and the very hardest, have they found any diamond tools ever in Egypt? I don't think so. I haven't heard that they use diamond tools over there. From what I heard, it's only copper and iron. So but even if like let's say that they had diamond tools, and okay, they use diamond tools to carve things, the laser like precision is odd. That shouldn't have been able to have been achieved back then. And then on top of that, why are there signs of like that the granite had been melted? Like all this stuff doesn't line up, but it's amazing. Like I don't know, it just blows my mind. And I guess that's why people call it great resets. The fact that Earth has been through many great resets, and apparently these advanced civilizations got wiped off the face of the earth, and these are like the leftovers of it. Or, signs of the Nephilim. We have no idea. And I am sure there are records of it. They're just kept from us because we have this very narrow view of the world. And not necessarily that, like, regular folks are to blame for having that narrow, that narrow view of the world. We've been brainwashed into having that view. That's what we've been taught, and they've hidden everything else from us. So I believe that they do probably have everything on paper or whatever, document actually telling us how all this stuff happened and came about, but we're not allowed to see these things, those archives underneath Egypt, we're not allowed to see. So there are carvings which are so tightly placed, normal tools would never have fit. A diamond, I think, could perhaps be the only tip which could be used to fit, be it very tightly. It's still mind-blowing. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, they probably could do some carvings, true, and get them into certain places with a diamond tip, but it doesn't answer. There still leaves a lot unanswered. Like, the facts, the melting, the fact that they were able to move these massive blocks. So I highly recommend looking into megalithic marbles, checking out the episode that they just did on the Let's Be Friends podcast. It was mind blowing. It was a really fun listen. They will, 3,000 years from now, they will find our ledgers and treasures. So you're saying, are we going to be wiped out in a great reset? And they're going to be like, what are these? Look at this advanced stuff, because they'll be in the Stone Ages in the future. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Oh, you're taking it with you? All right. I see how it is. So yeah. So I guess that's all that to say. And I'm probably not really good at explaining this off the top of my head, but just am really fascinated with all that Egypt stuff right now. But, and I would take that tour if I could. So you guys do it. Anyone who wants to, go for it. But you know what? And even if anyone does want to do it but can't next year, I hear that they plan to make this a yearly thing. So they did one this year, they're doing one next year, and that it's just going to be an annual tour. It's been popular enough, and it has gotten enough attention. So like, cool, maybe someday. Let's see, is that anything else I want to cover? By the way, Hex at 3 cents, amazing opportunity to me. Like, pick it up on sale. I would if I could. I know some people said that they are doing that before the Shemitah, that they're just, so I'm not, I need to watch Randy's videos and see how he's connecting pricing to the Shemitah year. But yeah, for anyone who does, or anybody who might be new to Hex and doesn't have Hex, this is a great buying opportunity right now. We're like at a 95% dip. And I mean, and even if it does dip, anyone who's new and anyone who buys it for the first time, stick with the roller coaster. It's a lot of fun. Ride it back up. You'll take me on the tour. Who better than yourself to help you further in your analysis? Thank you. That's a kind gesture. You know what? I'm hopeful. Like, maybe someday I can do it. I always thought that Egypt was like a non-option to me because there are safety concerns about going to Egypt. Supposedly it's not true, but I would say for Americans can be a target. If you're female, maybe you're a target too. So I always thought being able to see Egypt would be a non-option for me. But hearing about this tour and the way they conduct it and the fact that they have private security on it, and plus they're like giving you not BS history, I'm like, okay, maybe someday I will get there then. It's it's giving me some hope for ever visiting Egypt. So yeah. So anything else you guys want to talk about? Otherwise I might head to bed soon before I crash. But oh gosh, time flies. We're at it almost an hour now. I know. Yep, that's me. I've been trying to find out what was squeaking in my place for the last 10 minutes, but I realized it was at your place. I actually find it and grease it. I am in a director's chair that squeaks a lot. I guess, yeah, wood and metal, but I love this chair. Yeah, I guess. But the thing is, I don't know. Wood on metal, I don't even think greasing would do it because I guess because there's so much wood. I know I should probably get a better chair. I'm very attached to this chair. Like what other chair would be good for this? I don't know. Cause then if I then it, I don't know. Those computer chairs kind of look ugly. I feel like this is low and it's comfortable, but fine. I'll try to make the chair less squeaky. But yeah, so any of you squeaking, and I can't sit still. So if you guys might have noticed or not, sometimes I can, but no. Usually I'm all over the place. It's funny because like as a kid, I could sit still in class, but as an adult, I can't sit still. I lost the ability to sit still. I remember that in grad school. I think that's when I noticed it. I first of all I was just so like over school. I'd walk into class late. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I used to drink this stuff with like a giant Arizona iced tea in my hands and just be all over the place in my chair. Could not sit still. So I guess ever since then. Yeah. But I promise I don't have substances in my system. This is sober me. Can you imagine if I wasn't? It'd be scary. Keep the chair, just grease it up. Yeah, I just don't know. I'm like, would that even change anything? Because like, wouldn't the wood still squeak? I don't know. I'll try it. Yes. Yeah, I will try it. It scared your cat and pushed your paranoid self to walk around looking for the squeaky sounds. I'm sorry, guys. But thank you for sticking around and not being like, look at this nut job. I'm gonna turn this off. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I do kind of move around like a crackhead sometimes. So can you imagine if I like actually did crack? Arizona iced tea was a sign. Time to get there. Yeah. Okay. I'm like, what sign? Okay, go to Arizona. Look, now I really am acting like a crackhead. I'm touching my hair. You see, because like you know how it is. I guess when you get really tired, I was up early, and then you just start getting all like wired and moving. That's what's happening to me right now. But yeah, Arizona iced tea. And do you remember when people were mad about like Arizona, so they started boycotting Arizona iced tea? Meanwhile, Arizona iced tea was made in Long Island, still is. They make those jokes about that, Arizona iced tea. Everything's all good with inflation as long as Arizona's still 99 cents. Did it end up going up? I mean, I haven't drank this stuff in a long time for obvious reasons because chemicals and sugar. But now I'm curious. I'll have to look next time I'm in a store. Okay, guys, I promise I'll try to do something about the chair. Crackheads are harmless and make for good conversations. They're pretty interesting people. I love watching the videos of them doing great feats of strength in gymnastics. Have you ever heard the joke about like the crackhead Olympics, that we should just send a bunch of crackheads to the Olympics and that we would just take every medal, because it's like they're superhuman. Yeah, I'm sure they're harmless. Me and crack would probably just be a complete disaster, and I don't want to have to buy new teeth. No offense to crackheads. I just know it's not good for your teeth. I've never had any issues traveling abroad in guided tours. Roaming around aimlessly is a no-no, but don't be afraid to travel. Okay. Yeah, and you know what? It's not that I'm afraid. I just don't have the ability to right now, but I would love to. But yeah, you know what? You do. I have wondered about certain places, like, is it okay to travel? Okay, so as long as you're in a guided tour, so you felt comfortable in your guided tours, that's good to know. And honestly, like what I read about this tour, I'm like, this sounds pretty fantastic. Yeah, that it didn't scare me. The way I heard they did things, the hotels they were staying in, and private security. I mean, that's a pretty awesome thing to hire on a tour, especially in that part of the world. Oh no, are you serious? Did they really make it $129? Just kind of like the dollar store is $125 now? Seriously? it's just like, this is disturbing. You have your teeth? Oh, so you are one of these crackheads? That's why you're advocating for how harmless they are? No, I'm sure crackheads are wonderful people. And it's also, they always make that joke that crackheads know how to, like, what's it called? Like, come up with money for crack. They can always figure out a way, right? So with our whole economic issues and money issues and inflation issues, maybe we should just put them in charge, because they'll be able to figure out how to pay for whatever they need to. Right? I think they would be pretty good at fixing the economy. Oh, bye, my online ghost. Thanks for coming tonight. So yeah, send them to the Olympics and keep them in charge of the economy. I think that would be some great answers to the situations. No crack, just weed. Used to work graveyard shifts. Ran into a lot of characters, and crackheads were often interesting beings. And no, I was just teasing you. I didn't get the impression that you were a crackhead, but I definitely think they're very fascinating people, and that, you know what, we should probably put them in charge of the economy. Yeah, but personally, I'm gonna stay away from it. I like my teeth. Right? Like, have you guys ever seen the videos of them, like, jumping over, like, really big things and, like, doing some, like, really insane backflips? You're like, wow. I don't know. I mean, yes, maybe it's giving superhuman strength and energy, but, like, how did they already know how to do backflip, or did like the crack just like give them the confidence they needed to just start attempting backflips? Because I've never done a backflip, and I have no desire to ever attempt a backflip. Not even on a trampoline have I ever wanted to do that. But Ashley fixes the economy. Sounds like a Sunny and Philly episode. Just throw crackheads at the economy. I mean, at this point, could it get any worse with the crackheads? It has to get better. I mean, you see what the government's doing. It's not working out. So what do we have to lose at this point? I've never seen a Sunny in Philly episode, but my sister keeps telling me I need to watch it. Her and her fiance are big fans of it. So I actually, as a bridal shower gift, got her a what is it called? A tea towel for the kitchen that says, can I offer you a nice egg in this trying time? So figured it was appropriate for a bridal shower. Yeah. Might just work. I know, right? Let's just throw them at the economy, because it can't be worse than who we have in office now, who doesn't even blink sometimes. So at least the crackheads will blink. So I don't know. Yeah. So I think that about covers it for me tonight. I can't think of anything else to say. Happy high holidays to anybody that celebrates. So Rosh Hashanah at sundown tomorrow night, Sunday night. And beginning of a Shemitah year. I am intrigued by this whole thing. One of my friends had told me that it's debated, though, with the calendar, that there's different schools of thought about the calendar. It could be a Shemitah year. It might actually be another year. So interesting to see what this year brings. If you look at what's going on in the world, it does look like we are headed in some really strange directions for the world. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is a Shemitah year. I saw something interesting today. Besides the fact that people were talking about something happening on the 24th. So far, we're good. September 24th is it over in New York yet? It's over in 11 minutes in New York. But Marcus Rogers, I don't know if anybody follows him on Facebook. I'm not sure how I feel about him. I don't know enough about him, but he was saying that he was praying and he had a vision of like people getting out of their cars and running. So, that made me stop and go, So I do think we're headed in some strange ways. Something apparently is happening in China. Have you seen like the articles about like that they stopped their trains and And I don't know. So domestic trains, they stop flights too. I'm not sure, but I heard Russia is not letting military aged men leave on flights out of the country. So something is happening. Something's getting mobilized. I don't know if it's just, to instill fear. I, who knows? I mean, everybody in the world is corrupt, all the leadership. So you can't even like look at somebody and say who's the good guy and who's the bad guy anymore and what's happening. But I do think we're on the verge of big things happening. I guess what can we do? We just be vigilant and prepared. Ended on a strong note. Don't do drugs, but if we do, we have a good job for you. Yeah, exactly. You know what? Yeah, stay away from drugs. We don't need new drug addicts, but current crackheads, you know what? If you would like to serve your country, crackheads, we are willing to put you to work. We think you could do some great things. It's got to be better than what we have now. And you know what? I'm always very suspicious of any government. I never think they're for the good of the people. But I believe if you put crackheads in power, they would have kindness and love in their hearts for the people and would work for the good of all of us. They probably just might want to be paid in some crack too. Just like that episode of George Lopez where he hires the shady contractors and instead of paying them, they wanted to be paid in beer because they said that's where the money's going to go anyway. So maybe if you pay partially in crack, that's where the money's going to go anyway. Cut out the middle. Yeah. You heard, I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm not going to butcher it, but that Chinese leader was arrested today or something. Okay. Which is interesting because you look at it and you're like, okay, there's a lot of turmoil in the world. So it's not just one thing happening in one place. It's everywhere. Something's happening in China. And I'm always wary of what we hear coming out of China because China, I mean, you know how China is. They're very deceptive. So I'm like, is something going on? Are they faking things? It's like at the beginning of COVID where they leaked that footage of everybody falling to the ground and like being dead instantly, which we obviously didn't see happen in COVID. So I'm like always wondering, what comes out of, what's legit? What are they feeding us? Was he actually arrested? Do they want us to believe he's arrested? If they want us to believe it, why do they want us to believe it? So very strange situation happening right now, all at once in the world. Exactly. Beans, bullets, and badasses. Let's be prepared. Yeah, and I do want to talk more about that. I guess I just got to get some of this wedding stuff behind us. I don't mean that in a bad way, happy, joyous time. Just a lot of work going on for everybody in the family. But yeah, no, I do want to talk more on the topic because I've always been interested in this, but man, we are I feel like just moving at an exponential rate towards something big happening and something bad. So might as well all discuss it and exchange some ideas. Oh, thank you, Alan. You hope all my streams are like this one. Well, I guess sometimes they're nice and professional, or at least I try to be professional, but sometimes they can get a little off the rails. So you know what? I guess I'm a mixed bag, whatever way it goes, but I appreciate that you like the stream tonight. So thank you for coming in and hanging out with us. If you trust the government, you don't know history. Amen to that. Yep, exactly. And that's why they don't teach the correct history because they want people to trust in them. Shoot, but the amount of people that just kiss the butt of the government, and I mean, yeah, and it is a programming, for them to then turn around to those of us that don't and be like, look at you, you're ignorant, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're this and you're that. No, you're just a program to believe that. And it's amazing because you don't even have to go far back in our history to look at all the bad, all the things committed, about the government or by the government. Some of this stuff people want to categorize as conspiracy theory. A lot of schools of thought, let's say about 9/11. Some people think it's a conspiracy some people, conspiracy theory. Some people think that it really was orchestrated by our own government. And it's becoming clearer and clearer who orchestrated 9/11. But that aside, that's stuff people want to debate. But even if you go, you don't even have to go back 100 years to find solid things that happen. Look at how the Japanese people in the United States were rounded up into internment camps. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a fact. The fact that our own government rounded up its own citizens and put them into camps and claimed that they were a potential danger. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's real life. That's a real history. And people want to trust the government? Like, like they did stuff like that? No. Oh, it's a different government. No, it's the same. They still have these same mindsets. Look at the way they were, I'm sure if they could, they would have gladly have done that during these past couple of years too, So I'm like, you don't even have to look far off in our history to just see that they are not trustworthy people. Once you open up anything secret, it always gets more complicated and stranger. And that is also the case once you start peeling back the layers of our government too. Complicated, strange, and just dark, evil, not there for our benefit. They're there for their own. Don't forget to let everyone know about your donation address on YouTube so it doesn't get us like, oh, thank you. Thank you, Brian, for the reminder. So so everyone who has donated through here, thank you so much. Like I've always said, I'm always blown away by everything that I get, every donation. So thank you guys to anyone who's donated through YouTube. YouTube does get like a 30% cut. So you know what? Which even if you're cool with that, I am cool with accepting that through YouTube. But if you don't want YouTube to get that 30% cut, I have a donation address in the description. I'm pretty sure it's in my description right now. I'll have to check after the fact, so that you can donate directly to my wallet. I also have my Venmo address in there too. So whichever, your preference is, if anyone does want to help support the channel, I will be so grateful. So yeah, and I just, it's just, it's hard for me to say that because I feel like I'm asking, and I don't want you guys to think that like I am asking or begging for this. So it was hard for me to put that there for a while. I didn't want to put a donation address or my Venmo, but everybody's been so kind and encouraged me to go for that. And Brian, you were one of those people. So I did. So yeah, so if anyone wants to support the channel, I would be so grateful. And yeah, so all that info is in the description. Oh, and thank you. Here's the donation address. So it should be in that description down there too. Or, I don't know if you could copy and paste it out of the live chat. Also have my Venmo, or you can do it through YouTube. So, and thank you guys to anybody who has sent anything. Look, I'm getting all awkward and embarrassed. I don't know. I'm like I say, I'm grateful and I'm so blown away that anybody would do it, but it makes me feel like awkward. I feel embarrassed, like, because I don't want anybody to think like, oh, look at that grifter. Is that the word? But yeah, thank you guys for always being so kind and being so cool about that. And yeah, because the thing with streaming, I'm like, I guess I'm starting to realize that, yeah, there are expenses related to it. So like, it's like you have to subscribe to certain things. Now StreamYard is like, you're running out of hours. You need to sub. So yeah, so anyone wants to support me or the channel, I would be hugely grateful. And thank you guys. And even if you don't, thank you for being here and hanging out and watching. Thank you to anyone who watches in the replay. I really enjoyed meeting you guys and just having a good time. It's so nice talking to people on the same page who just get it. Who knows what's happening and what's going on, and just getting to know other people in the Hex community. I love it because we interact through Twitter, but here's a different way to get to know each other more. So thank you. Thoughts, child would be a good person to talk about crypto and deeper stuff you're mentioning, like history. He's a Hexagon of streams. Actually, we've streamed twice together. So if you want to go back into my video history, you'll find 2 different streams. And I think he was the one who got me got me intrigued about the Shemitah year, because I kind of like vaguely knew about it, but he was the one who really kind of explained it to me, and I'm like, oh yeah. So those are always some fun, interesting streams. British people gotta pay for what they do, you included. Thank you. I know. I don't know why. I'm not always good at accepting, I guess, stuff like that, because it always makes me feel guilty for some reason. I don't know. But thank you. Can we send XRP? Oh man, I wouldn't even know what to do with XRP. Hex, I do love Hex. So like I said, I'm grateful for whatever. Oh, thank you, Dr. Bray. I guess I'm watching some. Yeah. So there are 2 streams, and I think our last one that we did, usually whenever we stream together, it's like 3 hours. So because we just keep going and chatting. Dr. Ray, thanks and sleep tight. Hope to get a taste for that exploration. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, if you can go exploring, go for it. Go see the hidden history of the world and dig into it yourself, because you know what? You're not going to find that in the textbook. And sometimes I wonder how much of it is blocked online, with the algorithms and everything, because I like to discuss this stuff, but the more I discuss it, the less subs and views I get. And the thing is, I understand that could be me. It could be that people don't like my content. People don't like what I'm talking about. I'm cool with that. I can accept rejection. That doesn't bother me. But I find it odd, because I find the way that it was like steadily growing and then all of a sudden stopped, to me, more tells the story of the algorithm doesn't like something I've said or things I've said. I'm like, is it the fact that I've talked about prepping? I have no idea. But I just think it's very interesting. And I think it's, further proof of that that YouTube is just trawling the content, trawling for any words that might be a red flag for them, and they're suppressing certain information. Once you start talking about this hidden history or saying something against the government or talking about preparedness, YouTube is like, nope. So I think that's what's happening. But like I said, if people don't like me, that could be it too, and I'm cool with that too. Doesn't hurt my feelings. But yeah. Sorry guys about the squeaking and the fact that my camera keeps focusing and unfocusing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This is my iPhone. I hook it up to my laptop and use that as a webcam. So yeah. So, right. I think that covers it. So hope you guys have a good night. Listen, I'm not going to make any promises, because I never know what my schedule looks like. And I end up like my only time to stream is like nighttime. But lately I get so exhausted at night. I just can't do it. I can't function. I can't stream. But if I can do it, if I'm awake tomorrow night, and again, I don't know for sure if I can or not, but I'm like, we should, because it's Rosh Hashanah, whether you celebrate or whether you don't. I'm not Jewish, but I'm a Christian, so I understand the significance. So even though I don't celebrate it, I understand the significance of it. I'm like, we should just hop on and do like a Rosh Hashanah Shemitah stream, just because, you know what? If this is what kicks things off next year, let's just all celebrate together. I mean, celebrate, not that we celebrate any bad things that might happen next year, but you know what I mean? Let's celebrate the new year together. But disable autofocus on the camera. See, the thing is, this is an app called Camo. So I don't know if there's an autofocus, because it's not the autofocus on my iPhone. It would be through the app. But let me see if I can pull up the autofocus. Interesting. It looks like there is a place to change the focus, but I'm using the free version at Camo, so I can't. But okay. But I will look into that. Thank you. Yeah, because you know what, The iPhone camera is nicer than the laptop camera, so that's why I just use it like that. Oh, thank you. I dig you guys too. I should get a gimbal and stream while out and about. It would be fun. I've thought about that because sometimes I do have the thoughts, I do have the thoughts. It makes me sound like my brain is blank most of the time, but I do have thoughts I want to talk about when I'm out and about. But the problem is I'm short. So my arms are not that long. I'm like 5'1". So I have short arms, but short proportional to the rest of my body. So when I hold the camera, I can't get it far enough away from me. So it just doesn't look that nice. Or it makes me look fat and I'm being vain. But yeah, I wonder if I did put it on a gimbal, kind of was able to extend it a little farther, if it would look better. And I know like appearance doesn't matter, but if that's all I'm going to see, be like, oh my gosh, this camera's too close to me. I look huge. I look this, I look that. Then my brain's just only going to think about that and only going to fixate on that. But yeah, I should look into some other options. So better camera, but weakest link is the stream quality at 720p. So laptop webcam would be best. Yeah, because the Camo, the free version, only lets me stream it. It's 720p. But the thing is, I've seen my laptop webcam, and it just looks like, because it's built into the laptop, it just doesn't look as sharp. This actually looks sharper. Because I've seen it in FaceTime. That the camera looks good, but the FaceTime laptop thing sucks. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I know sometimes the equipment can be limiting, and a lot of people will just go all out and just completely like get amazing cameras, amazing lightings and everything. But I just like jumped into it and I'm like, I have to work with what I got. Otherwise I will never get my shite together and do it. But yeah. But soon, I'm like, little by little, I'll just figure it out and upgrade it. But I appreciate that you guys stay here anyway, even with my ridiculous quality. Yeah. So, is the 720p look that terrible on YouTube? I figure maybe most people are just like watching on a phone or like just plugging it into their car and listening. I wasn't sure if anybody actually cared about the video quality. You want to give it an overhaul? It needs some TLC. I am telling you, it does. I just feel like I'm never home. I never get to set things up the way I want. But I thought about it a lot. Sometimes I looked at the equipment. I put some nice stuff into my Amazon cart to like remind myself, like window shopping. I'm like, okay, sometime when I'm able to, I put the ideas there as inspiration. So like meaning that it's on my mind and eventually I'll do it, So almost like my Pinterest board. I use I'm not into Pinterest. I use my Amazon cart as an inspirational Pinterest board. You know what? Because who does window shopping anymore? We just do Amazon window shop. Oh, okay, cool. You might be up here for Christmas. Then you'll probably be the first person from the Hex community that I meet in person. So that'll be cool. That'll be awesome. Oh, I was at your brother's place of work a few days ago. I'm rarely there at that place, but I was there. But I didn't see him. I must have been there on his day off. But I thought of you guys when I was there. So, all right. Oh, sorry. No, I almost missed something. So Nikon Coolpix P1000 cameras, heavy duty, F years. Use it to go out and get the proof. So I'm trying to think the Nikon Coolpix, which one that is. Okay, I'll look into it. I think something that I noticed that a lot of people use in their setups are okay. So this would be for out and about. But setup wise, I know a lot of people use DSLRs because you can manually change everything and make it look really nice. I've seen some of those Canons, man. Even like just like the lesser quality DSLR Canons, like the picture comes out pretty nice. Like I've noticed that you don't have to go over the top to get some really nice picture. And I need to change my lighting too, because this lighting, it's interesting because something I've learned about lighting is my lighting setup works pretty well for Zoom, but it's like so for streaming. But the thing is, I don't like bright lighting for streaming. I like it kind of a little moody, but I still need to do something different in terms of lighting. Um, I've seen Elgato puts out some interesting stuff, but I'm like, is Elgato just hype? Because people like use it for Twitch, or is Elgato actually good stuff? Like, is it worth the cost? Let's see. Hey, Tin Top. Oh, you have a P1000? No curve? Okay, I won't say anything about curve. The curve, okay. Sorry, I'm all confused. I'm like reading this stuff out of order. Sorry, give me a moment. Oh, okay, cool. You told your brother. That's awesome. I know, like small world. That really get a kick out of that. Helped her with leaf bags. Am I gonna sound like a princess? I don't rake the leaves. Somebody else does it. But I contribute in other ways to the household, but I don't do no raking. I haven't raked in a while. But yeah. Just watched your last live stream. Awesome. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Black Pepper. Oh, today's his birthday. Happy birthday to your brother. I was gonna say his name, but yeah, I'll be. I won't. What's the word? Out people. I'm not gonna dox people, but happy birthday to him. You know, that's the same name as my dad. Yeah. So it's so hard for me to break away from this stream because like I keep saying I want to go to bed, but like I keep wanting to hang out too. It's so bad. Yeah. And I work early on Sunday mornings. So that's the hard thing. But maybe one day I won't have to work early on Sunday mornings, you know? To the moon. Yeah, I know. I want to stay. Alrighty. But now I think I'm almost at an hour and a half. So I probably will officially end it here. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful night. So I don't know yet about tomorrow night. If I'm free, if I'm not about to fall asleep, maybe we'll stream tomorrow night. So I guess stay tuned, into Twitter. I usually announce there. I announced pretty last minute tonight because I had no idea what was going on. But so you guys have a wonderful night. So I should try some NyQuil. Got rid of Craig a long while ago. No. Trust me, I could fall asleep like this. So I could probably fall asleep on stream if I stopped talking. So I would probably just need duct tape over my mouth. So I stop talking and then I fall asleep. But yeah, you guys have a wonderful night. Sleep tight. Don't let the Wendigo bite. And I will once I finish listening to that podcast, maybe we'll talk about the Wendigo sometime. We should find somebody who knows about that. So I want to talk to somebody who knows about the chupacabra or who has seen the chupacabra. But yeah, you guys have a good night. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. And thank you all for being here, and thank you for anyone watching in the replay, and thank you to everybody that's donated. Good night, and thanks all for being here tonight. Bye.